Hello, and welcome to Putt Nuts. We're making something today you probably thought you could never have again. Chili. And yeah, I've seen low-carb chili. No beans. Chili without beans, pretty much taco meat, in my opinion. So, we're going to start out here. We're going to find out how we can make chili with beans. Yeah, not tons and tons of beans like I always used to like it, but with beans. So basically, you do it like you do regular chili. You get you some meat in the pan. What I've got here is about 2 pounds of hamburger. I'm making a pretty good sized pot of chili, and I like lots of meat in my chili. If I can't have beans, then I cut up about half an onion, which is only about 3 carbs or so. Scoop it up in there. And I take my sriracha, give it a little shake. Give it a nice generous squirt. Maybe another carb. Let's see here. Less than 1 gram in a teaspoon. So I put in about a tablespoon, maybe a little more. And what I have in here is about 2 pounds of ground beef, and that is ground turkey, because if you've never had turkey chili, let me tell you, there's something about turkey and chili that is out of this world. Just delicious. So we're going to cook that together with the sriracha. Put a little bit of chili powder in there. I just like to get the flavor in the meat before I cook it too. Unfortunately, I still don't have any regular garlic, so we're going with garlic powder today. This is just to flavor the meat before we even drain the grease off. Put some nice black pepper in there. Can't have anything with meat without black pepper. And then we'll get to cooking. I'll speed that part up for you so it goes in just a few seconds. For me, it's going to be a while. This is the way that you want to stir your meat, like this. Make sure you keep it all chopped up. You want it to be, you don't want to have big chunks of meat in there, at least I don't. I like to make sure that the meat is nice and crumbly into little pieces. And I want to mix that turkey in with the beef. Sometimes I use pork too. So this is how you do that. You just keep a nice stir on it, shake it a little bit, let it cook for a minute, keep doing that until it's done. I always add a little bit of water in while I'm cooking it, because that does 2 things. First of all, when you make sausage, like when I used to work in the meat department, you always add water to it. It helps to distribute the flavor better and get the flavor into the meat better. So it's actually a good thing for that. But one other thing, well actually a couple other things it does here, having a little bit of water in there makes it so that this is almost impossible to burn unless you leave it on high and walk away for 20 minutes. And second of all, when you go to pour off the grease floats on top of water, so the water stays down in the bottom and the grease floats up to the top and runs off first, which means it's easier to drain the grease off of it. Because when you start seeing mostly water coming out and very little grease, you know you got all the grease. You don't have to tip it so far over to get the grease out. So that's what I'm going to go do now, is get the grease out of the pan. What I like to do is scoop it down to one edge like that, flatten it out, pack it together so there's no loose pieces to come flying out, and then I drain the grease. you can see, it's mostly just water left in the bottom of there with a little bit of grease floating on top. And this being low carb / keto, you want a little extra fat, so that doesn't hurt anything. This is 81%, so it doesn't have that much. Now, I always like the first taste test, so you have an idea how spicy your meat is, what flavor it has in it, so you know what else you need to add. So to this, what I'm going to add is, I'm almost out of cayenne pepper in this, so I'm just going to dump that in. It's maybe 1/4 teaspoon, something like that. It's not a whole lot. And then chili powder, and then a pretty decent amount because it's really low in carbs anyway. That way you get that nice chili flavor that you're looking for in there. And I do it this way so that I don't get the steam up inside the container and make it harden up. And I like to use just a little bit of this. I use it for taco meat too. It really sets off anything you're making that's got a Mexican flavor to it. Really adds to the flavor. And then garlic. I don't have any of the good stuff right now, so I'm just going to add a nice dose of garlic. That might be a couple carbs worth, 2, maybe 3. Garlic has some carbs, but not too many. And then the cumin. Or cumin, depends on who you ask. Can't have chili without cumin. We'll dump in about that much. And yes, oregano. If you look at the ingredients on chili powder, it always has oregano. This is some good oregano, but it needs to be ground up a little finer. It's not very fine. So I put in a nice little dose of oregano. Maybe a hint more. Kick. Last but not least, don't forget the salt. You won't taste anything without the salt. Alrighty. Now, we're going to add our petite diced tomatoes. So now, the sriracha I added earlier, maybe 1 carb. Remember, we dumped some of it off too. And all those spices, the onion, 3 carbs. So now we're up to 4. Let's throw 1 more on for good measure and call it 5. This can has total 5, 1 of fiber, so 4 per serving, 3.5 servings. So that's 12, 13, 14 grams of carbs here. So now we're up to, what, 19 grams of carbs. And now comes the kicker. Best part. Got a can of kidney beans. You can use whatever kind you like. They're all pretty close to the same. This one's the lowest one that I had in the cupboard on carbs, left over from before I started this diet. 19 total, 7 grams of fiber. So that's only 12 grams per serving, 3.5 servings in this container. So that's 36, 42. 42 grams of carbs. So, altogether we've got about 60 carbs in there. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But then you add some water. Lots and lots of water. Some nice good filtered water in there. Stir it all up. Now, if you do the math, let's just round it up to 60 carbs. About 1.5 gallons of chili there. you have, even if you have a 1 cup serving, that's, let's see, 16, 24, 60 divided by 24, it's about 2.5 carbs per cup. Not half cup, not quarter cup, 1 cup. 2.5 carbs in 1 cup serving. 1 cup's a pretty good sized serving for a keto recipe. 2.5 carbs for 1 cup of chili. That's not too bad. Now we'll just let this simmer down for a couple of hours and see what it tastes like when we're done. I won't make you sit through that, not even on high speed. I'll just turn it back on. See ya. Okay, it's been cooking for a little while. It's chili. It needs to cook longer, but I can't wait. I'm hungry. Half a cup. 1 cup. Thought you couldn't have beans on a low-carb diet, huh? A little bit of math proved that wrong. About 1.5 gallons chili here. 16 cups to a gallon. It's 24 cups. 2.5 carbs per cup. You could add another can of beans and still do well. Or have 2 cups of chili, which is a nice sized bowl of chili. Either way, you can have chili again, and it's just the time of year for it. Thanks for watching.